Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Hero Legends Nintendo Discussions podcast. Today we are talking about the new Switch rumors that have been popping up online from various articles over the last couple days or so. Today I am joined by
RK1283, writer of Free Wire and Crashy News, and today we're going to be talking about a lot of Nintendo games.
And I'm Digimon11. I have no experience in writing articles like you two. But I'm just here for the fun of it.
That's okay.
It's great. We're gonna have a lot of fun. Let's talk about Nintendo.
Mm-hmm. Alright, RK, you made a list or something of stuff to cover?
Yeah.
Or do we just want to wing it?
I wrote down a list of a couple of key talking points we could talk about, but if I miss anything, feel free to butt in and just kind of say, hey, we need to talk about this or that, and we'll drop whatever I'm talking about and go cover that.
Cool. So what's first on the list?
The first on the list...
should we talk about the Zelda one?
Zelda?
Yeah, let's talk about the Zelda delay first. I think that's one of the biggest pieces of news next to Pokemon.
Yeah, sure. We can talk about that. Why don't you go first, RK?
Okay, so Zelda. So the first piece of content we're going to be talking about is Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, and how the game is not going to hit the Nintendo Switch launch. And the reason for that is Nintendo wants to spend more time polishing the game, ensuring the localization is high quality, and that they have more time to do it. And some of the interesting bits about the rumor is that the footage we saw at the Nintendo Switch trailer, it wasn't the game that was running choppy. It was because they extended that footage for a longer period of time to make the video last longer. So the game actually runs well on the Nintendo Switch. The interesting thing is that it's just not coming out when the system launches. Whenever that means it's going to be a holiday game or just a summer game is unknown. But this also means that the Wii U version is also being pushed back. So we're getting that Wii U support next year, guys. We're definitely getting it.
Along with other indie titles.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, and Ukulele as well.
Ukulele, which I also think might be coming to the Switch, but I don't know.
Eventually.
So what do you guys think about the Zelda rumor?
Well, as far as Zelda is concerned, I mean, it's not really up there in my most anticipated game list. I'm really surprised it's not a launch title, because I would have swore that it would have followed in Twilight Princess's footsteps and been a launch title for the Switch, which it basically was all signs were pointing to. However, we'll be talking about another rumor that relates to this, but there's another reason why Zelda may not be a launch title, because a certain other title might be a launch title in its place. So there's a silver lining in all this. So
plus, we already have a Skyrim game coming at launch, so whatever.
Exactly. I mean, you know what? We got Skyrim. We can wait for Zelda.
We have two Skyrims on this console.
Yep, two Skyrims. Yeah. So I mean, I think it's a shame Zelda might miss launch, but like we touched on, Nintendo has a lot of other games hitting the system when day one. So I mean, it's not the biggest loss. It just, I would imagine, really frustrating to Wii U owners hoping not to upgrade to a Switch. They just want to get Zelda and then just continue playing on PlayStation or whatever. And now they're like, oh great, I have to wait I gotta wait God knows how long for this game to come out on my system now. This is annoying, but I don't know.
at least it's not Persona 5.
Oh my hero, when we do the Free Wire podcast, we're gonna have a field day talking about that one.
I'm looking forward to it, because I have some words of my own for that.
Oh boy.
You know what? Since we're having a Switch discussion, let's just briefly touch on and ask this question: do you guys think Persona 5 is getting delayed because it's coming to Nintendo Switch?
I sure as hell hope so.
Wait, besides PS4? What other consoles are coming to?
I think
PlayStation.
it's PS3, but there's I think.
Oh, I thought that got canceled.
I thought so too, but people are saying.
No, that didn't get canceled. The PS3 version is still happening, and when the game released in Japan, it came out at the same day and date for both PS3 and PS4. And the PS3 version actually runs pretty good. It just has some longer load times, from what I heard.
Well, it makes sense. It was built. It was a PS3
problem.
game for like what 5 years before finally like coming out and also coming out on PS4. It's sort of like the Breath of the Wild situation. So
Yeah.
Hey! At least it's not Final Fantasy versus 13.
You know what? I actually give Final Fantasy 15 credit. At least that's coming out in 2016. And all
Yeah, but like it was announced 10 years ago.
Well, Persona 5 is gonna be, if it gets delayed again, it'll be being delayed 5 times. But well, whatever. Let's stay on topic, guys. I'm sorry I brought it up. I just want to just throw the question out there since we're talking about the Switch.
no worries.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said,
My-
I really hope that Persona 5 comes out on Switch. I'm like, it's just like Nintendo would gain so much for making that happen. It would really get the hardcore Japanese audience on board with it day one or whatever, and I think it would be a really, really good idea, especially because the Persona fan base will love the appeal of basically getting a portable version day one. So
Exactly. It's basically like. Go ahead, Deji.
Maybe they should also port Tokyo Mirage Sessions as well, just to try to make some money off the game.
I think they should prioritize Persona 5 first, and then maybe put up Tokyo Mirage Sessions maybe a little later in the year or something, just to if they're gonna do one of the two, it's gotta be Persona 5. I mean, just because of how high profile it is, and Tokyo Mirage Sessions always felt like it was a sort of not a mess or a coupled mess or something, but it was just weird. Like, it didn't know what it wanted to be. Like, it didn't know if it wanted to be a new IP, a Fire Emblem game, or whatever. And
Actually, from what I saw about the Tokyo Mirage Sessions, it looks like it has a very clear identity. The problem was it was the expectations coming into when the game was released. People wanted a strategy game with Fire Emblem and Shin Megami Tensei elements, but what happened is they got a very Persona-like game using elements of Fire Emblem and the core foundations of, say, Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne or Persona 3. And the thing is, people like me who love the Persona series would love to get the game and play it on and get a Wii U for it. But the thing is, there's people who really want it to be like a normal Shin Megami Tensei game. I guess it's just a result of, I don't want to sound mean saying this, but like overtly being anime, I guess, because I know that throwing that term around is kind of stupid because anime.
well,
is
it's basically
No,
it's basically
I get what you mean.
it's uber like
You get what I'm
J-pop.
saying?
It's like J-pop and idol themed and all that, and like the game's like full of color. It's like everywhere, which is really cool.
Beautiful.
And it's like, what the heck is this? This isn't what we expected.
Oh yeah, remember
Yeah.
when I still remember the original teaser clip that was shown in the January 2013 Direct when the game was announced for the first time, and I think everyone was taken for a loop when the game was actually fully shown off as Tokyo Mirage Sessions back in April 2015 or something like that.
I will be the first to say that from that point on to when it was released, I was excited for it.
Funny thing was,
But we'll get to a crossover RPG soon. But
Oh,
just
definitely.
oh yes,
but
We'll
to go
talk-
back to Zelda.
just
Yeah,
just
Zelda.
one more bit of trivia. I'm sure you guys know already, but apparently Tokyo Mirage Sessions was developed by the Devil Survivor team at Atlas, which is quite funny.
That's interesting.
But to go back to the Zelda thing,
Yes.
I'm
Thank you, Deji.
honestly surprised that it won't be a launch title, considering how they've hyped this game up. They dedicated their entire E3 towards that game, and it got so much press. There was a video by Polygon that showed a lot of people were running to the booths to go play it, and that's the first
they
time
said
it's
that
happened.
And they said the only time this has happened for a Nintendo thing at E3 was when the Wii was announced.
Exactly.
So I mean, you know what? Let's be honest here, guys. The only reason why people were that excited was because Zelda was the only major big game people really wanted to play on the Wii U that year.
I just don't want to see another E3 dedicated towards that game.
It won't, Deji. It won't just be for that. It'll be
I
for a
know.
bunch of other games too.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's kind of like to go back to the Final Fantasy 15 comparison when they had that press conference a few months ago. What was it, back in April?
I don't remember.
I think so.
Like they
Give
and they
people-
and they announced the release date, but then it got delayed.
Hmm.
But the delay was actually for a decent reason. They
Oh
wanted
yeah,
to-
I know.
Yeah, I agree
know.
with you.
It's just one of those how they overhyped it, and it's just it kind of looks embarrassing on their part.
Exactly.
Square
I
Enix,
completely agree with-
Square Enix overhyping a mainline Final Fantasy game. Surely you jest.
Oh man, we all
You know
love
what I
Final,
mean.
we all love Final Fantasy 13, right, guys?
I have no opinion of it, so I can't join along with the joke. All I just know is that everyone hates lightning.
Well, Square Enix sure must have liked Final Fantasy 13 because they think they really caught lightning in the bottle.
Or I guess she wants to say that they wanted to make lightning strike twice.
3 times.
You know what?
Lightning doesn't return.
Yes, it does. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Anyways,
Well, we all know the real star of the Final Fantasy 13 games, the polygonal dog.
Oh, definitely. But let's stop being a dead horse, guys. Let's move on to 3D Mario.
This isn't Pocket
Okay.
Card Jockey. What are you talking about?
Let's move on to 3D Mario.
Is that game any
Okay.
good, by the way?
What did he ask, Deji?
Pocket Card Jockey.
I never played that.
I played the demo. It was okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay,
Back to Mario. So that's going to be a launch title,
Yep.
and this is going to make you happy. It's going to apparently it's going to be open world like 64.
Hopefully.
and it's going to be 2-player co-op support.
You
Yeah,
think
it's
it'll
not-
be online co-op or no?
Well,
It's probably going to be local co-op because they have the 2 Joy-Con thing. So, I mean, that's probably how it's going to work. Like, you can work together to try to get the stars, and the winner gets the most points, wears a crown, like in 3D World or whatever.
Hopefully they'll do it like split screen co-op or something because, it just, I don't want them pulling a 3D world where they just, have like a non-moving camera just to, like, it's the whole thing's accommodated to, like, made for that in mind. I don't want to see that. I just
Well, the
want,
thing
like,
is,
as long as it's split screen, that kind of thing, and I'm okay
Yeah,
with
well, the rumor states that they're going to be attached by like a tether, kind of like the Lego game. So maybe how it could work is that once you start going far apart, the screen splits in half into split screen co-op.
Yeah, they did that with the Lego Batman games. I heard they did that for Lego Batman 2 on Wii U. Like, if you, I don't remember if that's exactly how it went, but, actually, never mind. Go on.
Because I saw the Game Explained discussion, they said they made the Knuckles Chaotix parallel. I was like, oh god.
Oh boy, that'll be nuts. Like Luigi stands in place, and then he just flings to the star because Mario just running so fast.
Luigi wins by doing absolutely nothing.
I just
Absolutely.
hope that it will, like, since they're adding co-op, it won't ruin or butcher, like, because I hope they'll find a way to make it both accessible for co-op and both accessible for single player instead of sacrificing one for the other.
I don't think they will do
Which
that.
which is the problem to me. This is one of the problems with the new Super Mario Bros. Game is that when you're playing it alone, it feels so empty.
Yeah, I can understand that. Even the new Super Mario Bros. on 2 on the 3DS, even though that game was built in mind for one player, it was a bit empty sometimes. Anyways, so 3D Mario, the interesting thing about this is that it's going to basically go back to the Mario 64 type of game. So, What do you guys feel about that? Do you think if this is going to be a good direction for Mario, or they should have went down the path of 3D World? I'm personally happy they're trying to go back to what 64 and Galaxy did, just specifically because I felt like that was how Mario really revolutionized 3D. Because where 3D Land and 3D World basically felt like Mario kind of blending the Crash Bandicoot-esque 3D 2D idea, but with Mario mechanics was fun. 3D Mario is best when you have a lot of different control options to best round the environment. So, what do you guys think?
Well, I'm just really happy that they'll hopefully go for, like, they'll focus on exploration, but I really want it to feel open again, like in Sunshine in 64. That's just me, though, as I said before, and I think the last podcast.
Yes, I think that I'm looking forward to seeing how the level designs are too, because the only thing we saw so far is like a day then inspired level, and that looks so colorful and interesting.
I do admit that the bit they showed was obviously it was intentionally limiting, but I just hope it's a lot bigger than what we saw. I mean, it just doesn't help that we only saw like 5 seconds of footage, so I can't really judge on that.
You can't judge. Although Game Explain did, they did an analysis, and before it was confirmed through the rumors that it's going to be open world, like it's going to have more exploration than Galaxy, and just like 64, Game Explain pretty much hinted at it.
Well, Game Explain does a great job with their discussions, and not just discussions, but their analysis videos. So them being on point about a couple of things makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So since we talked about 3D Mario, let's move on to Mario Kart on the Switch. And the rumor for this is that it's a hybrid between a Game of the Year edition, which has every single bit of content Mario Kart 8 had, plus all the DLC. But in addition, we're getting new characters, which we saw confirmed with King Boo being playable, and a rebuilt battle mode that fixes all the issues of when we saw in Mario Kart 8, and it has new races and new tracks to play. So you guys think about it.
Let me go first.
Go right ahead, Deji.
This sounds way too good to be true, and I'm very skeptical about it. Trust me, this is something I want to see. I want them to fix the battle mode, because it is the worst thing ever.
I agree. It's not.
I
very
want
good.
them to add extra characters. I was so baffled that King Boo, Diddy, Birdo, Bowser Jr., and I guess Petty Piranha and Dry Bones were cut off. I'm like, why are these guys here? And then we got characters like Baby Rosalina, Pink Gold Peach, and Tanuki Mario.
Come on, Deji. Pink Gold Peach is the best character in Mario history.
Just stop right there.
But yes, I agree with you. The character roster was the biggest disappointment, but I would rather trade a weak character roster if it means we get a lot of really creative tracks, which is something I sort of had a very similar feeling of with Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed, where they had a lot of great new racers. There was a lot of clone racers that replaced characters like whatchamacallit, like the Virtual Fighter characters and so on and so forth. So I agree with you. They should have been a better roster of racers. So what about you, Hero? Do you have anything to say about the Mario Kart Switch rumor?
Well, I find the idea of the game interesting, and it's just my only hope is that one, Diddy is playable, please, and two, I hope that it doesn't mean we won't get Mario Kart 9, because the Mario Kart series can obviously get a little similar between each entry. I just hope Nintendo doesn't just think, oh, we'll just make Mario Kart 8 Switch Edition and then call it a day, and not make another Mario Kart game until 10 years later on the next system or something. I don't know. That's just me,
the thing is, where like, if all this is true, where do we go from here?
I don't know.
They do Double Dash too. I mean, they already have the two. I mean, they have the 2 item system, and maybe they can actually go full Sonic Racing Transformed and have like the transforming carts. I mean, if people to Nintendo ripped off Sega, but I mean, that's kind of the next direction they can go in Mario Kart, or maybe they could just maybe just go Diddy Kong Racing style and have an adventure map or
Oh
something.
god, that would be so cool.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of areas they can go with Mario Kart, but the thing is, they just need. I think what they're going to do with Mario Kart Switch is that they're going to release it. It's going to have 16 new tracks. It's going to have 8 or whatever new characters.
I just
It's
realized
going to
something.
have all the.
I just realized
Yeah.
something. Maybe the reason they're porting Mario Kart 8 is because 9 is going to be such a big revolutionary change in direction. Because porting 8 could mean here's your traditional definitive Mario Kart game, while 9 will be the big, pardon the pun, switch up in the series. Like maybe it will have a big ass adventure mode. Maybe it'll have like crazy new stuff in it that it will alter the experience, but it may be the evolution the series really needs. Because when you think about it, Mario Kart 8 and 7 or whatever before, it never really felt like big evolutions. At least Double Dash, I think, was the biggest innovation with the whole 2 character mechanic, and it's sad that they never brought that back until at least the 2 item mechanic they're teasing for Mario Kart 8 Switch. But hopefully, this is what they're going to do, just to show that 9 won't be the same thing as 8, but with prettier graphics and new courses. You know, that whole shtick is going to get old real quick.
I think that what's going to most likely happen is that, like you said here, they're going to make a really revolutionary Mario Kart game, but very similar to the rumors surrounding Smash Bros. Coming to the Switch, Zelda Breath of the Wild coming to it. We'll talk about Pokemon in a moment, but basically, it's basically the result of Nintendo trying to get all their big pillar franchises on the system day one, so they could really knock it out of the park.
Oh yeah,
Because
that's really what Nintendo needs more than ever, is to really push the thing like mad, so that this is not a Wii U situation. I mean, can you imagine if the Switch does so well that it totally eclipses the Wii U's lifetime sales in a very short time? That will tell you right away that this thing was a big hit. You know what I mean?
No, Hero? Hero? I'm just gonna say, because this is a handheld, it's console, of course, but this is a handheld. Nintendo handhelds always get some level of success. I would not be surprised if this outsells the first year sales of the 3DS and the lifetime sales of the Wii U within its first year.
Hopefully.
I do want one thing that they should add. Actually, a few things they should add in Mario Kart Switch. You know those options in All Stars Racing Transforms, Battle Race, Battle Arena, Capture the Chow, and whatnot.
Yeah.
They should add those modes, but like they should bring back Sunshine Thief from Double Dash, and we should also have a battle race thing.
Yes. That would be really cool. I would like to see a lot of options for multiplayer, which I think they will be in this edition, because here's the thing. If all the base work is done already with a number of the courses, they're still going to make new stuff, obviously, but they're not making a full new game. They're making like maybe 40% a new game. And they already have the 60% done already. So they really don't need to go and they really have all the time in the world to make the battle mode as in-depth and as enjoyable as it needs to be, because they definitely heard that criticism.
The one thing I really, really want to see is character-specific items again, like in Double Dash. Like, give Mario his red fireball, Luigi his green fireball, you know, that sort of thing. I find it's really bland when all the characters use the same items. I mean, it just added a lot more personality to the characters themselves and gave you a reason to choose one or one over the other, not just because.
Then we're gonna give Koopa Troopa the triple green shell, red shell thing. Blah.
Oh man, that was awesome.
No, it wasn't, because that's what everyone would choose.
Well, it was awesome if you had it. So, any more thoughts about Mario Kart Switch before we move on to Pokemon, or is there any more things you want to talk about?
I think we covered everything.
Can we have the option to remove items like how you did in Smash Bros. When playing with friends?
Yes,
that'd be pretty huge. That'd be pretty huge if
that would
Nintendo
be
did
amazing.
that. An item switch.
That would be amazing. I would love to see that because that basically means they can have really competitive races without items kind of being like throwing a wrench into things. So I think that they'll definitely look into options. Hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
So the next topic we're going to be talking about is Pokemon Stars. This is a very recent rumor leaking out yesterday, if I remember correctly, of this recording, and it is basically the Pokemon Platinum Emerald iteration of Pokemon Sun and Moon, but it's going to be exclusive to the Nintendo Switch. And there's reports saying that it might have Pokemon specific to this version, or maybe like Aloha forms exclusive to this edition or something. And if we saw it, and it's gonna have full HD character models and environments. And the thing is, we already kind of saw this in the game. We all saw gameplay footage, but the character models and the Pokemon are really high quality assets. While the backgrounds they still look nice, but they're a little bit muddled. So what likely is happening is they made everything in mind for a Switch version. So when they got to work on that, it's already in production and it's set to come out like sometime after the Switch's launch. But so I guess can I go first and talk about my thoughts on this?
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thanks guys. Pokemon Stars, it's basically Game Freak finally making a traditional role-playing Pokemon RPG. And I don't want to hear, oh, we got Pokemon Coliseum and XD Gale of Darkness. Yes, those are I like those games. I thought they were okay, but that isn't a traditional Pokemon RPG. That Pokemon Source is gonna be Sun and Moon, but on a console with high-quality HD visuals. I mean, people have wanted this for decades, and Nintendo and Game finally doing this.
This is arguably the one saving grace of Nintendo doing this whole hybrid thing, because it's the only way we would ever get something like this.
I know. I mean, I really think
you know what else that means? They're never
What?
going to make a third for 2 copies of a Pokemon game ever again.
Why do you say that?
Oops.
they can't do, well. The reason that they could still make the 2-copy version, but they can't do it with this game because of course it's the Stars edition.
Well,
But-
don't forget, things are portable. So, and we already see that they can link up multiple Switches together. So you got the trading thing right there, and of course on console you got the online functionality. So there you go.
Absolutely.
I just want a Platinum remake, okay?
we
Don't
will
worry,
get
we'll get that in 2-3 years. Don't worry about it.
there's
No,
also-
actually, I want them to remake Platinum, not Diamond and Pearl.
Well, they probably will. How did it work with the Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire remakes on the 3DS? Do they still have?
I don't know
content?
specifically because I know that I didn't play Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, but they did add like an Emerald, like a Delta Emerald segment, but that had nothing to do with the with Emerald itself. So
Yeah.
I don't know if the Battle Frontier's in it or not, which was
There is no Battle Frontier, which is why so many people were disappointed by the game.
I think Heart Gold and Soul Silver did have crystal elements, didn't it? Besides the female
Yeah,
character.
it had crystal elements. It added some extra bells and whistles. It also had traveling Pokemon.
So
No,
basically, Hawk Gold and Soul Silver, or basically Pokemon Crystal with even more upgrades and additions, while Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire 3DS are they basically remade those base games and really didn't do much with Emerald. So that it didn't do anything with Emerald, right?
It just expanded on the plot with having both Team Aqua and Team Magma more involved and introduced the Battle Frontier, which is what a lot of people preferred.
Okay, so thank you for explaining, Deji. So I really think that if they do any more remakes, they will do more remakes. But the next set of remakes, they'll definitely incorporate more of the third version. So like you said, you want a Diamond and Pearl remake, well, it's likely going to incorporate elements of Pokemon. They're likely going to incorporate elements of Pokemon Platinum, because I wouldn't be surprised.
Did you guys see? Have you guys been keeping up with Pokemon Generations?
Not really.
I've been watching some of it.
Because like they did an episode that took place of the Platinum Key event where the villain took Dialga and Palkia, and Garatina appeared and captured him. So I was like, that. So that's why I want them to adapt Platinum, because I really like that scene.
Hmm.
Well, Pokemon
But-
Generations has been very interesting so far. With it, I like the episode with the police where they actually go invade the Giovanni's gym,
Oh,
and he
yeah.
actually use Pokemon like tools. I thought that was really cool.
Oh yeah.
It's been pretty hit and it's been
It-
pretty messed with me lately, but this recent episode was good.
Yeah, it's
Well, that's great.
it's definitely hit and miss. I mean, for example, I just watched the one with Iris and Druddigan against Team Plasma, was it? And spoilers, all the gym leaders show up, and it's just like, okay. And then when they start building this shit up, and then all of a sudden it just abruptly ends when they all charge at Team Plasma. It's like, thank you, I guess.
Well, that was they're just adapting like key elements from the games.
I know, it's just
'Cause
like
that
this whole concept of these little shorts are a little misguided. Like they show us these bits that maybe have never been seen before, but they're just poorly done in terms of like having a beginning, middle, and end. You know what I mean?
Well, that's
Oh,
happened.
okay, good. I distracted you guys long enough because because the reason a few months ago, there was like a Chinese leak about Sun and Moon. Like there are so many leaks,
Oh,
but
yes.
one of the leaks was that there's going to be an NX version. So I'm on the page and I'm looking for I'm at the article. I'm just trying to find that NX part.
Well, I remember a long time ago there was this weird Pokemon Fusion rumor that I think would have it was about the 7th Gen games, which would be eventually Sun and Moon, and it said like one version would be on 3DS and another would be on the next system, which I think it was called a Nintendo Fusion or something. So if that's how the rumor went, in a sense, it was actually close to reality.
This is what one of the Chinese leakers said. The NX will be a dual handheld console set for release next year. September 2017, there will be a parent game that features both regions XY Sun and Moon exclusive to this console. This was back in August.
Okay.
And there are also like all these Chinese leaks have been almost on the money. Like they predicted Ash Greninja, even though it was originally going to be called Rainbow Greninja.
I thought would have been better.
they-
Any name would have been better than Ash Greninja. I'm telling you that right now. Any
You
name.
are in denial. Get out. I mean, I like the name. Screw you.
I think it's
Uh,
cool.
Well, it doesn't even make sense because I saw the episode where they first hinted at it, and they imply that Ash Greninja existed long before Ash was even born. So how does that make sense?
because no one knew what it was, but since the Greninja has a resemblance to Ash in that one, that's why it's called Ash Greninja.
Right.
It's also because Ash is immortal and never ages.
So it
To
should
be fair,
so,
everyone's immortal and never ages because no one ages.
well, then they should call
So-
it. They should call it Coma Greninja.
And plus, it's the reason why Greninja is the most popular Pokemon.
You know what? I really like Greninja even before I heard about the whole Ash Greninja thing.
I
thought-
liked Greninja before it was cool.
No, I wasn't saying that. I was saying that I thought that his design was really interesting, and his addition in Smash Brothers was a really fun addition.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
He was probably
So-
the best pick for a 6th Gen Pokemon to be in the game. I can't really think of anyone else really that they could have picked.
I agree.
Delphox.
No way.
Chestnut.
No, you can't.
Well,
You
we
can't
ha-
tell me that Delphox and Chestnut would have been better than Greninja in Smash.
Oh, I thought you meant star Pokemon.
No.
in general.
I
Like,
mean, Smash. Yeah.
It's to be fair, they wanted to. I think they wanted to have a system where if they're gonna have a starter Pokemon, it would be of a different element because Charizard was already included, so that's
Mhm.
fire. Pikachu's electric, then you can also say Jigglypuff is normal and fairy. You have Lucario, which is fighting and steel. And so, I mean,
Well, we don't
They
have a
They
haven't-
should add Decidueye for the grass starter.
that's a good point.
Yeah,
But
they,
I think
they, could,
that
they could maybe do that in the Smash 4 port or something. They could add Decidueye as like a grass starter. That'd be really cool.
Yeah,
I'll tell you,
that'd be
I'll tell
really
you this
cool.
right now. Why the hell didn't they call him Robin Hood? Like, why does it? Why
That's
didn't?
what everyone said. In
So-
fact, that's why everyone's nicknaming it Robin Hoots. I've known 17 people with Robin Hoots as their nickname for it.
Let's get back on track and talk about Pokemon Stars. So,
Okay, they really should have called it Pokemon Eclipse. Just saying. Sun,
I
Moon,
agree.
or like Pokemon Earth or something, because for what it's worth, stars doesn't even make sense because the sun is a star. So
Pokemon Sun.
sun,
but
sun.
because Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So whatever.
Anyways, I really like the idea that Pokemon's getting a Pokemon RPGs coming to a console,
Mhm.
and I'm hopeful that the Switch version brings a lot of different improvements, like the frame rate, because I heard that the frame rate of Sun and Moon isn't very good on original 3DS models.
Surely you jest.
I'm not. I'm serious. I heard that the frame rate isn't very. It kind of.
Oh no, I'm serious. I know how bad it. Like, Game Freak really surprised me when they did such an amazing job with Harmonite on 3DS, where they got that to run in 60 frames per second in 3D. Yet their Pokemon games run like poop.
Well,
What?
to be fair, when you have to create 727 individual models,
That's a very good point. But at this point, I think they should have had enough optimization to make sure the games run well. So I'm hopeful that with Pokemon Stars, that the game has a stable frame rate, and if it doesn't, people are gonna be like, "What's going on here?"
yeah.
So any things saw on Sun, you guys might have saw on Sun and Moon that you didn't see and would like to see pop up in Pokemon Stars, or anything you want to talk about Pokemon Stars before we move on to another role playing game?
I'll tell you something that I don't see in Sun and Moon that I want to see in Stars on the Switch. You want to know what that is?
What?
Good graphics.
What? But okay. Actually, compare
Graphics are good in the 3DS. It just doesn't run very well.
No, wait. Graphically, compare X and Y to Sun and Moon. You will see that it's a huge jump.
It's a bit better, but not. I mean, like, if you look closely at like the environments or whatever, it's got like square pixelated textures like on the DS. It's just come on.
Dear, it has pixelated textures on a handheld.
Boy.
I mean, when you have games like Monster Hunter Stories, which look like a handheld 360 game, then yeah, Game Freak is kind of slouching out a bit. I mean, it's like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Well, Hero, to be fair, when you're making a big game to run on a portable console, not every studio can do a great job making sure it runs well or has great visuals. Like, I remember there's a couple, like, I remember Idea Factory, and they made the Neptunia games on the Vita. The first Rebirth, the Neptunia Rebirth game had really strange frame rate drops at different points, and when there was a lot of stuff on screen, it really took a nosedive in terms of the core frame rate. But as they kept making their games, the frame rate got more stable. With Neptunia versus Sega Hard Girls, I know the name is stupid.
Okay, you don't have to keep bringing that up.
I know, but the point is, the latest game in the series has a very stable frame rate, and it really feels like Idea Factory mastered the Vita hardware to produce a game that runs well and looks really nice. So I think that
Plus, the game runs better if you're using a new 3DS.
A game runs better, but I hear there's still frame rate drops. So I mean, I think the big issue is, I think what you're touching on, Hero, is that after having such experience with the 3DS hardware, at this point you would expect them to have a game that runs stable and looks really nice
Pretty
in
much.
comparison to other Nintendo games. But the fact that isn't the case is disappointing to you, and I would agree. But the thing is, the 3DS is a system that is. Well, I think the reason is because the Pokemon models are so high quality that maybe that's why the frame rate drops so much.
Well, I don't. I think they could have just toned down the models a little bit to make make it run better and maybe have the texture quality be a lot better than it is. I think that would have made a much better difference than where they're going with it right now. But then again, I mean, if this is all just to make it like the quote unquote beta of the Switch version, which will look like really nice, then I'm all for it.
I do have one request.
What's that?
It's a slight spoiler. You know the battle. You know the battle tree thing.
No.
That when they showed red and blue.
Oh yeah, red looked so weird in that in the game. I don't know what the hell they were going with that.
Actually, his model in the game looks good. It's the official artwork. I was like, wait, that's red?
I know, right? It's the artwork that looks terrible.
It's what was I going? Okay, so something I do want to see is the other protagonists appear from previous games, because I am so sick of just seeing Red. I understand he's the first one, but compared to everybody else, he's accomplished the least.
I saw your tweets about this, Deji. I saw. So, I mean, I agree with you, but the thing is, the reason why they included Red to begin with is because it's an anniversary game, so they wanted to celebrate the Pokemon anniversary.
Yeah, it's an anniversary game, then why didn't they include everyone else?
They were lazy. I mean, they didn't have enough time to make other models. I mean, they're saving it for the Switch version.
No, I'm pretty sure they had time. There's a difference between not having time and being neglecting it, because they did the same thing in what's the game called?
I remember Pokemon White and Black too.
Yes, like they had Red. I was like, where's everyone else? Why isn't the other protagonist from the first game here?
Funny thing is that it's also the 10th anniversary of Diamond and Pearl, so they could have had Dawn and what's his name, the male character, Lucas.
That would have been cool.
Or Brendan and May. All they had to do was make them a little bit older. And for some reason, Wally is still the same age, even though that makes no sense. Well, whatever.
Yeah, so I mean, I agree. It'll be really nice to see the other generations of Pokemon, specifically the main characters of those games, get some attention. So I agree that it would have been really cool to see those characters pop up.
Also, minor thing, in the battle tree, every generation has at least one representative, except Gen 2. No one represents Gen 2. So that gen got screwed over again.
So maybe that might be added in the Switch version, maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah. You never know with Game Freak. I mean, we all thought that the next Pokemon game after Black and White was going to be Gray. It's like, oh, Black 2, White 2. Then we thought, oh, the next Pokemon game after XY is going to be Pokemon Z. Especially since the anime was called X, Y, and Z. Nope.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens. So let's move on to our next one. This is a very major one. Mario RPG Invasion of the Rabbids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Initial reactions in one sentence. Arcade, go.
Where the heck is Rayman?
All right, Hero, go.
Huh? Well, it's just like confusion, but I'm open to it.
My reaction was, say what?
Say
I
what?
know.
That was a joke.
What, it was a joke too, but
Just woke up.
Well, the funny thing is that this all started when Gameblog, a French site, reported on NX Rumors a few months ago, and one of the things they said was that there was a Yoshi and Rabbids crossover in development.
I was aware of that. I thought it was the reason why it was believable, but I was so pessimistic towards it because I thought, another mini game compilation, please. But then I hear it's an RPG, and I'm like, Okay, I'm digging this idea. I
You know
mean,
what, Deji? Trust
that's
Ubisoft because they were the publishers of South Park: The Stick of Truth. Obsidian made it, but they published it, and they also actually had Ubisoft multiply and make a role-playing game called Child of Light, which was
That
also
was
a
by
very
that
solid
was by
game.
Montreal, not Montpellier.
Oh,
well,
Montreal.
UB art, and it was using the UB art
Yeah, that's
engine.
that's the only relation. It used their engine, but
Okay. Yeah, but point being, Ubisoft has experience making RPGs internally or publishing them. So I mean, I was surprised when I heard about this, but the thing that surprised me the most is the code name, Mario RPG. When was the last time we heard that name, guys?
Paper Mario. It was originally called Mario RPG 2.
yeah.
Mhm.
It eventually ended
But
up being
I'm pretty
called,
sure that's just a code name, so I'm
Probably.
I
not.
think it is too.
I don't think we're going to see the return of Gino or Mallow since they're pretty much shared owners by Square and Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
So unless Square is involved in this game, good luck.
I mean, I think it's interesting that it reminds me of the Mario and Luigi games to a degree, in the sense that we get the reboots as the invaders. Remember, like how Mario and Luigi went to the Bean Kingdom in the first in Superstar Saga, or how little aliens invaded across time and Brothers in Time. So I mean,
Partners.
I'm so sorry.
It's
I'm
fine.
tired. Partners in Time. So I mean, this isn't new territory for Mario, but the thing I'm interested in is how the story's gonna work. Because if it's gonna Mario, Yoshi, and a Rabbit are gonna be confirmed party members, with Bowser having a Rabbit form and other Rabbits being supporting characters and villains. So how the heck is the story gonna work?
I really hope Rayman is in it because they like.
No, I'm just letting you know if Rayman's going to be in it, it's going to be a cameo since the rabbits are pretty much a separate series from Rayman at this point.
I don't know. It'd just be
It's a shame.
It'd be a missed opportunity if Rayman wasn't actually playable and all that.
Yeah, it would have been so cool. Even if he was like an unlockable party member, like he would be like, "Hey, Mario, I'm gonna help out" or whatever. I mean, that would be really.
And then he
that,
gets chased off by rabbits off screen.
that would be funny, but it would make sense that this happens because the Rayman series and the Rabbids franchise is really closely connected to Nintendo, dating all the way back to the Wii and Rayman back to the Nintendo 64. So I mean,
You know who should be a playable party member in this game?
Ooh,
Nabbit.
Nabbit, yes.
yes, that would be really fun.
The first time I saw Nabbit, I immediately thought of a rabbit. But and someone on NeoGAF actually pointed out the connection between a rabbit and I was like, crap! It just came back to me again.
Yes.
Maybe under his mask it reveals that he was a rabbit the entire time.
that would be trippy as hell.
Yes, let's do. Yes, in the end of the game, he's the secret final boss. He opens up that sack, and now is announced to be the portal between the Rabbit world and the Mario universe. So, I mean, how do you think this game's going to play? I'm thinking of a traditional role-playing game.
I have no idea. The only thing I hope is that, one, it'll be turn-based. I mean, it's an RPG. The first thing I think of in an RPG is that it'll be turn-based, but that's just me. I prefer turn-based if possible. Two, I hope it's 3D and not just some 2D game. But if it's by, I would hope it's a AAA effort by Ubisoft. I mean, it's a fucking crossover with Mario. It should be treated as such.
It is. I would imagine
according to Dr. Cupcakes, you know, the guy from Unseen 64.
Liam Robertson, yeah.
Yeah, he did say, from what he heard, it apparently plays out like Fire Emblem.
So a tactical
really?
RPG?
Yeah.
I can see that
my
working.
excitement went down a little bit. I mean,
I've never played tactical RPG. I played
Oh, it just reminds me, Ghost Recon Shadow Wars.
a spiritual sequel in form of Rabbids and Mario.
Julian Gallup, I think his name was, he was the creator of XCOM, and he directed or designed Shadow Wars, but he's no longer at Ubisoft, but he was at the Ubisoft Sophia team, which was the team that made that game. I'm wondering if it might take after that or something, if it is a tactical RPG or something like that.
Game Explain also said that it sounds something like XCOM as well. So
Interesting.
Hmm.
I mean,
So-
I would prefer it be like something like Final Fantasy, where you're Mario or a rabbit exploring towns, like big towns or whatever, or I guess Mushroom Kingdom or whatever, like the rabbit's world is, and it's just maybe talking to people or whatever. But if it's just going to be more Fire Emblem-ish, then I can see that working. But I don't know, it just seems like a little limiting.
yeah, I would prefer them to be more Final Fantasy-ish, or the South Park game where it's wasn't that more Paper Mario like?
Yes, it was. It was It was very Paper Mario like, with with the new one had playing very similar, but allowing you to move on the different maps and when you're fighting.
I just hope that it's accessible because tactical RPGs sound, I don't want to say niche, but especially since it's a Mario game, you get what I'm saying, right?
Well, Mario's never had a tactical RPG before, so this would be new territory with him, right?
It would be new.
Yeah, but like how people say that the Mario RPGs are essentially RPGs for beginners.
RPGs for babbies.
Babbies? No. No.
Babies first RPG. Yeah, I do hope it's something like that. Like it'll be complex, but yet easy to understand.
Yeah, I mean, like easy to play, difficult to master. Those are always the best kind of things, So
yeah.
I was gonna say something. Yeah, at least it's not a minigame collection, because I was hoping.
Thank God.
I was personally hoping it would be a platformer, because I think that would have been the first thing to come to mind as an appropriate genre. However, I'm still totally open for a new standalone Raving Rabbids game, because those look cool on Wii, and I would like to see an actual new one on Switch. But that's just me.
I'm sorry. I'm losing my mind right now. Please. No more Raven Rapids minigames. No more, please.
One thing I'm looking forward to with this crossover is the music. I could just imagine hearing the rabbits screaming the Mario theme.
Blah, 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 blah. No. See, it'll be like it'll be the new Super Mario Brothers thing where it'll be like dun 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 blah.
Thanks, guys. You just leaked the next song that they're going to add for.
I mean, I actually
Just Dance Switch.
I'll be disappointed if they don't do that. If they become self-aware of the dislike with the new Super Mario Brothers series music, just have the rabbits do the whine in that music. Do it, Nintendo, do it.
For Just Dance 2017 or 2018.
It's funny because Mario's been in Just Dance games before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you guys think about So just in general for this rumor, I'm looking forward to learning more about this when they officially show off more stuff on the Switch in January, and I think it's going to be one of the big showcases in addition to Beyond Good and Evil 2. If that is a Nintendo Switch exclusive, showing Ubisoft supporting the console.
Hopefully.
And I think this is a very good decision on their part, because Nintendo's backing the game, so they're going to be publishing it most likely. Ubisoft's developing. It's using Ubisoft IP and working with Mario. So this is kind of like the ideal situation that Ubisoft probably wanted with Rayman Legends, but Nintendo refused to publish it in the Western markets, if I remember correctly.
I don't even know why. I don't know why they would refuse. I mean, it's fucking Rayman Legends. It was a really high-profile game. So I don't.
So I don't. Maybe it's.
Call me a pessimist, but does anyone else feel a bit worried that we're having free Mario games at launch?
Oh, you mean
we're not having free.
Including Mario Kart 8, I guess.
We're not having free Deji. We're not having free Mario Kart games at launch, and even if we were having a bunch of them, they're all different. 3D Mario is a Mario platformer. The Mario RPG is an RPG. Whether it's a tactical or traditional turn-based one, we'll find out in the future. But it's an RPG. Mario Kart's not coming out till a couple of months after launch. So I mean, when the system first comes out, I think it's going to be interesting to have a traditional 3D Mario title. Maybe Mario Maker port. We don't know. We'll find out next month. Not next month in January. And a Mario RPG. It's 3 different kinds of Mario, but they're all doing something different. The thing is, it's not like
yeah, it's doing something different, but at the same time, I think like this was a complaint that folks had during the Wii and Wii U era that they were milking the hell out of Mario game and having so many games in 1 year close to each other. So it's just like space them out.
I get what you're saying.
I don't mind different Mario spin-offs. It's just, especially if they're like really like have a lot of effort into them and just really are original looking. I mean, I miss that we never got like proper sports entries. Like we're still waiting for Strikers 3. We're still waiting for a new baseball game, and it's just like I don't know. It's just me though.
I want Strikers 3.
I want Strikers 3 too, but we're definitely getting a Strikers game next year, guys. What about that Mario Sports Collection on the 3DS?
Yeah.
Where we get to play horse race, soccer, tennis.
You mean Mario
football.
Sports Mix 2?
Yes,
Yeah,
basically.
that's what I'm afraid of with the game. It just looks like Sports Mix 2, but without Square Enix.
We'll see what happens. I mean, I said that a couple of times already in this podcast, but we really don't. We hear in the rumors. We're excited about them. We're talking about them, but we don't know what they're actually going to do. So we really need to see what happens. I mean, for all we know, this Mario RPG could have a completely different art style than what the normal Mario games. So who knows? We'll see what happens.
Again, yeah. I mean, being a Mario fanboy, I'm gonna get it regardless. It's just all I say is timing. Then again, we had like back in 2010, we had 3 Sonic games near each other.
Well, to be fair, Sonic Colors was the best out of all of them. So, wait, no, 2010 Sonic Racing came out. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sonic Racing.
Sonic 4 Episode 1.
Yep, and
Colors
Sonic Riders.
and Free Riders, yeah.
Free Riders
yeah, I forgot about Free Riders.
Yeah, Free Riders was a classic. Everyone loved that game so much, guys, right?
Did you know that apparently it won an award for Best Connect Game? To paraphrase someone I knew, if that's really the best Connect game, it speaks for the quality of the system.
Yeah, the expectations were very, very high for the console, and we finally got our treasured classic racing game that everyone can love and enjoy. I'm sorry for being so sarcastic. That was playable. I remember trying to play Free Riders at a friend's house. He had a Connect in the game, and I could do nothing. I only remember shaking a soda can, hoping it worked.
What the hell?
You shook a soda can, and when it launched, Sonic rode on it. And,
I thought you meant that you were shaking one in real life while playing it.
I thought you were talking about that mini game from Sonic Shuffle.
No, there's an actual item in.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've seen the whole game, and yeah, it's an item in the game. It's like, and you get to hear Sonic go ready, 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 ready all over again.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Strange, isn't it?
So, exactly. So how we have one more rumor left. We have 2 more things left.
Actually, before we continue, sort of speaking of 2 things about the Rabbids crossover. One, who do you think is who do you think is developing the game?
An internal Ubisoft team with supervision from Nintendo.
Whoever it is, I hope it's not the ones that did the Assassin's Creed remasters.
Oh God, I think that was Virtuos who did the remaster.
Well, the PS3 version of the remasters is fine. It's just the
there's no PS3 version of the remaster. It was ported from PS3 to PS4.
I'm sorry. I'm not thinking straight. I meant PlayStation 4 version. That is fine. The Xbox One version is the one with the creepy face and Spider-Man climbing.
Are we sure that's not in the? I thought that was in the PS4 version as well.
I don't think it is because the footage that came from was from the Xbox One version only.
Okay.
I could be wrong though.
But
So
you don't
continue.
think you don't know like you don't have any ideas which Ubisoft team could be behind it, because they have a lot.
Well, well, I think if it's gonna be any Ubisoft
Wait,
studio, we have who was the creator of the Rabbids?
Michelle
Michel
and
Ancel,
Cell.
and
What's
U-
his
at
studio?
Ubisoft
Yes.
Montpellier is the original creator of the Rabbids games. But the thing is, wouldn't they be all busy with Beyond Good and Evil 2 on Switch? So unless they're huge enough to do two games, which they could be, but I don't know because Beyond Good and Evil 2 would be a huge undertaking. I would think that maybe they would have another team doing the Rabbids, or the Mario RPG game, and I could maybe assume that it would be Ubisoft Paris who did most of the Rabbids games afterward, or it could
Wait,
be
what? Wasn't Ubisoft like bought out? Or I mean, not bought out. Like they
not
sold
yet.
some of
Not yet.
divisions?
No.
What's going on is that Vivendi, who previously owned like Sierra and had a Vivendi Games division, but merged that into Activision and all that years ago. And that's how Crash and Spyro ended up with Activision, etc. Anyways, Vivendi, under new leadership, has been buying a huge amount of shares in Ubisoft from Yves Guillemot himself and family. They've already completely taken over Gameloft, which is actually formed by the brother of Yves Guillemot, who is the founder of Ubisoft. Actually, I think both of them formed Ubisoft. The brother left, formed Gameloft, and now Gameloft is owned by Vivendi. But Ubisoft, I think, is now 28% owned by Vivendi, and it's just going to keep creeping up until they get the majority vote or something. It's just like, ugh.
We won't stop until we own Rayman and give them the Crash Bandicoot and Spyro treatments.
Well, to be
Oh
fair,
no, wait,
Rayman
Ubisoft
is-
did that with the rabbits.
well, the thing with Rayman is his series kind of, well, I wouldn't say finished, but the Origins and Legends, they were fantastic platformers. Legends had some issues, but I thought it was a really great game. Then their mobile titles with Rayman have been very solid. Rayman Adventures is a very solid free-to-play game. Jungle Run Fiesta is one of the best running platformers on the iOS and Android, and I think are very clear inspirations for Super Mario Run. And let's not forget the legacy Rayman had as a 3D platformer with Rayman 2 to Rayman 3.
Mm-hmm.
So the series had a really good life and run. So if it's done, I wouldn't be upset. It's how I feel about Metroid. It's just if it ends, it ends. But the great games will always be remembered.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. If Rayman suffers only because Origins was released around the same time Skyrim came out. Legends was released the same month GTA 5 came out.
Well, trust me, that was the only half of the issue of why there was a lot of resentment towards the game in terms of its whole release schedule, if you know what I mean.
And the behind the scenes stuff that, yeah.
Like basically the delay, the porting, and whatnot. That did not go well with the Wii U fan base.
And it also go well with the people that were actually developing the game, since didn't they go on strike or something like that?
I think even Michel Ancel himself. Don't quote me on this. He might have said that he himself didn't like it either, and I think I think it might have been one of the reasons why he left Ubisoft back a year or so ago. I think that was when the rumors of him departing from Ubisoft started. What might have resulted from that. I don't know. It's what I recall.
I remember. I remember those rumors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember them too.
I mean, it was really like a really terrible move from Ubisoft, and I think it benefited no one in the end. Aside from, oh yeah, we have more content in the game, like with the back to Origins levels. Like, who cares? I mean, it's just like the game was finished on Wii U. It was announced as an exclusive, and then 2 weeks prior, they delayed 6 months to port it to everything else, and it's like, and they chose like the worst time ever to release the game. It's just like, what were you thinking? The Wii U version did the best anyways, so...
Actually, it was the PS3.
The PS Vita version was also really good too. I think the problem mainly with Legends was that it was a game that needed more time to be in development. Here, yes, that is correct. they were basically finished with the game, but they was able to add a full world to the game with the delay and all the back to Legends content. There's also the invasion levels, which are some of the best pieces of content in the entire game.
Yeah.
And they were only added because of the added development time. I think what they
But
should have
hey,
done
how can
was-
we forget the best inclusion for the Wii U version? The Mario and Luigi costumes.
I know they're fantastic. I know, man. So good. So good. But really, I think the reason what the issue with the delay was they should have pulled what Resident Evil 4 did. It could come out first on the Nintendo console, and then come out on the other systems with the updated
Well, that was
content.
a Microsoft thing. Because like Microsoft has a policy that it should come one game should come first or something like that.
Then skip
If
that.
one
Just
game
release it on PlayStation and PC then if they want to put it on other systems.
Yeah.
I mean, that way you patch in the new content for Wii U owners to and say, listen, we know we're making this new version on the other systems, but all the new content we're adding is going to be added to the Wii U version for free.
Yeah, really.
In addition, we're adding, etc., etc. So I mean, that would have been the best way to handle things, but clearly that didn't happen.
Mm.
But anyways, I really don't know what Ubisoft team is making the game. I would assume that the creators of Rayman are working on it, but like you said, Hero, they're busy on Beyond Good and Evil 2, so we'll likely see what. I keep saying this, but we really don't know what's going to happen with this.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to see now. We got to see what happens in January.
Mm-hmm. And my second question is, on the topic of crossovers, what other Nintendo IP do you want to cross over with a third-party IP?
Legend of Zelda and Final Fantasy.
Really?
That would be really cool, honestly, because they could, even if it just focused on one series, one game of Final Fantasy, like Final Fantasy VII.
Before, this takes place before Aerith's death. So,
Spoiler.
Yeah, let's do that.
So I mean, that would be really cool. Zelda and Zelda and Final Fantasy are franchises that aesthetically could work really well together, and mixing turn-based gameplay with the exploration of the Zelda series would lead to a really creative game. I also would like to see maybe actually Rayman and Mario team up in a platformer, because that would be really cool to see.
Which?
I forgot to make this joke. So we're getting Rabbids and Mario RPG, which sounds so out of the ordinary. Well, kinda, but we still don't have a Mario and Sonic platformer.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the Switch will answer that question in the future.
I hope so.
No, it won't.
I hope so. Yuji Naka really wants to do it.
Also, since Mario is going to be the 3D Mario game is going to be a launch title, at least Project Sonic 2017 won't have much competition.
That's a good point too. It also, I think we'll also see Sonic Mania come out on the Switch's launch as well if it's a March game.
I would hope
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
I would hope so.
So let's move on to the last point, which is EA has one big game set for launch on the Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get a laugh out.
Sorry, what?
Electronic Arts said that they have one big game plan for the Switch when it launches.
Well, it's hard to it depends what their definition of big is. Like, are we talking like Battlefield and Mass Effect big, or just big in terms of like their sport games, which will appear on Switch by default anyways, just because for the launch hype or whatever. But let's hope they don't.
I think they legally have to do that. They have to have at least one NFL or one sports game because of the contract.
Well, if it's at least one, then I believe you. But if it's like every entry, then no, then that would be false, because the Wii U would have gotten every entry so far had it been, I
think arcade means that EA has to make a sports game every year, not Nintendo consoles in general.
Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to say. But I mean, I think we'll likely see maybe, I think Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare 2. It's a late port, of course, but it is.
Yeah, that's the one that I'm hearing a lot.
That's the
Well,
one you think.
I always find it weird that PopCap has been absent from Nintendo hardware since the DS. I mean, their games feel like they're perfect matches for the Nintendo audience, yet they barely showed up on Nintendo hardware as a whole.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if they actually do pop up on the Switch, because I really think Plants vs Zombies would be a really good fit for a Nintendo console, just because the Plant Garden Warfare is a game I think a lot of people can have a lot of fun with. It appeals to the Nintendo user base because it's bright and colorful, and it fills the need of a shooter, which would be.
Although we have Splatoon, something that we also forgot to mention.
Yes, we'll close everything off with Splatoon, but I think we'll definitely see a Plants vs Zombie game at some point on the Switch on the Switch in the future. So, what games do you think will EA produce on the Switch?
Well, I don't really know. I mean, I guess we could potentially see Mass Effect Andromeda, even if BioWare themselves won't do it. It could be by Tantalus again, because they're teasing that they have more, ports for Nintendo hardware to come, and not just with Nintendo, but maybe in general. I have no idea. Because I remember they asked, whoever interviewed them to ask, fans to give them suggestions and whatnot. But really, because they did Mass Effect 3 on Wii U, which was, well, I wouldn't say it was the best idea to just give us the third game, but here we are. But Andromeda is the first in this reboot or whatever new series or whatever, and it would make a lot of sense to put that on the Switch. It's just whether or not EA will be all right with them doing that, because it's all in EA's word whether or not a game gets made for the Switch. It's not. They just. You know how business works. So I don't know. I don't know what. Actually, there's one I think has a really high chance of happening. Aside from whatever PopCap game comes out in the future, Star Wars.
Yes, I was just gonna say that. I think we'll definitely see a Battlefront or whatever the Dead Space developers are working on on the Switch in the future.
Yeah, I know that Amy Hennig, who helmed the Uncharted series and was a major Naughty Dog person back in the day, is working on one. I know Respawn is working on one, the Titanfall folks. So one of those could end up on the Switch. Maybe a late port of Battlefront. I have no idea. But
well,
yeah.
It would make sense because they could kind of leverage of all the DLC content and say Battlefront Definitive Edition. That way, people who haven't played
that just came out yesterday, I think, for the other systems. The Game of the Year edition or whatever it's called.
Maybe a late port of that on the Switch might be a good idea.
Maybe. I mean, as long as it's treated equally, if it's a late port, it damn well better have all the content.
Especially if it's a Game of the Year edition.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to see companies port over a game with just the base game a year after the other consoles missing DLC. It's just I'm all for late ports. Just don't make them half finished.
Well, the thing is,
don't do what EA did with Mass Effect 3 when they ported it to the Wii U, and then they announced the Mass Effect trilogy. So it's
Yeah, I mean, well, the problem is that it was the third game in a very story heavy series. I mean, their compensation for that was oh, you get a digital comic book. Who the fuck cares? I mean, I'm not gonna read a comic for 2 hours to customize my character or whatnot, and then play the actual third entry in the full game. That's just that's not how it works. I don't know who would do that.
What are you talking about? Sonic 3 and Knuckles was my first Sonic game.
Yeah, but that's different because Sonic 3 and Knuckles is not a story-heavy franchise. I mean, and that's an actually good game.
Some people would actually disagree with that, but that's a completely different topic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's I mean, Final Fantasy is different because you can put, almost every game in the series is self-contained, aside from sequels like 10-2 or 13-2, so they can choose whatever Final Fantasy game to port over, and it will be just fine. But it'd be like if Wii U got Lightning Returns, but not 13 and 13-2, you know what I mean? It just doesn't work that way.
I know,
Yeah.
You have to assume that the audience, that the console audience did not play the earlier entries, so it's not really they're not going to play a game without knowing what the hell went on previously, because they'll feel like you're jumping into an episode of a TV show halfway through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Anyways,
It's like if Pokemon was airing on Cartoon Network
speaking
for
of
so
which,
many years, and then it switches to Disney XD. Oh wait,
yeah, that was just announced a couple
Yeah,
days
that
ago.
happened.
It's funny because it's been just over 10 years now since Kids WB lost the airing of the television rights, and
technically, it's been on Cartoon Network since the very first season. Granted, there were reruns,
really,
but still. And Kids WB is owned by Cartoon Network, so it's
yeah,
like
they were the same thing essentially, like sisters.
there was no
like,
real loss.
like sister
There's
networks.
also the fact that whatchamacallit, Sonic Boom got moved to Boomerang.
Oh yeah,
Which is still Cartoon Network, but
don't you mean Sonic Boomerang?
New episode in 3 hours.
Oh, really? From now?
Yeah, I think Mike Pollock,
wow, that's great.
Mike Pollock announced that on Twitter.
Oh, that's really cool.
I mean, it makes sense. It's Saturday, isn't it? But why so late in the day?
It's better.
Well,
than
it's both good and bad. Just to get a quick segue. Good because it's at a later time of the day. Bad, it's on a channel that people don't have, and even people if they have it, they don't watch it.
Is it Boomerang? So isn't Boomerang supposed to be more or less a retro channel? I mean, it's in the name, Boomerang. It comes back. You know.
Dude,
Yes,
dude,
it is.
Dude, this is the same channel that also airs Teen Titans Go as well.
They also have that new Scooby-Doo show on there too, if I remember correctly.
And they air new episodes of the Charlie Brown Show and Garfield Show while their main demographic.
Wait. There's a new Charlie Brown show?
Yeah, Peanuts.
That's how.
Wow. I mean, I remember seeing like little clips, like little shorts on YouTube, like 2 years ago, but I didn't know they actually made a new show. Wow.
Well, it just came out, but
oh, wow, I gotta look that up.
But they air new episodes when their main demographic is either at school or at work.
You know what I think
Good
it is?
job,
I think Boomerang is like both retro but also nostalgic. That's why you see like Sonic, Peanuts, and all that. You know, like they're new entries in classic shows or classic IP.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So so let's boomerang back to the discussion about the Switch.
Okay, goodbye. You killed it. I'm done. Bye.
No, don't leave. Okay, so we have the final topic, which is Splatoon. Splatoon is coming to the Switch at launch, and is going to be bundled with the console, and it's in a higher priced SKU. It's going to have new single player content. Got to have new weapons, new hairstyles, new clothing options, which means it's going to be rebalancing the entire game because there's now you can buy pants in addition to shirts. And the single player content is also being added. So very similar to Mario Kart Switch, it's going to be a mix of a Game of the Year edition while also being a brand new game. But
Well,
in
they could just call it Splatoon now with new hat.
No. He has a new hat. I want it.
Yes, exactly. So what do you guys think about this?
Well, I still haven't bought Splatoon yet, but I think that might be because, one, price, two, I think the rumors of a port started around the time, like, not long after it came out. So I was like playing, you know what, I might as well wait for it on the Switch, so I don't have to buy it twice. But I'm down for it. I mean, I think it's a great idea to bundle it because it's still doing really well. I mean, it's still like, it's not a phenomenon like it was a year ago, but it's still like, it's still like, pardon the pun, fresh in people's minds. So
It's one of the Wii U's breakout titles, in my opinion, and one that really helped define it as a console that offers new experiences.
And if anything, it proved once and for all that when a Nintendo software can sell anywhere and on any Nintendo hardware, it doesn't matter if it's the Wii U or the DS or whatever. If it hits at the right place at the right time, it's the right kind of game, it will do huge numbers. So
Because look at Japan.
yeah, I
Japan
know.
loves Splatoon.
I know. It's like it's really amazing that Nintendo finally got a breakout new IP, which is something like people have been wanting for like over a decade. I mean, Pikmin I think was the last major new Nintendo IP, not counting eShop stuff. So yeah.
Oh, speaking of Pikmin, apparently we might get Pikmin 4 as well.
Yes, Pikmin 4 is coming to the Nintendo Switch.
Well,
But
I
we
mean,
sort of knew.
are we really surprised about that? Because I
Not in the
remember
slightest.
Miyamoto.
I
oh,
mean, Miyamoto said like we're making Pikmin, well, making Pikmin 4. Like how many times now?
Out of
And
out of the blue.
like
they've been saying the Pikmin 4 has been in development for I think a while now,
wait for a
and
year.
the fact that the Wii U's and the fact that the Wii U is kind of going away is in the future. It kind of makes sense that they moved this to the Switch.
Hmm.
So we can agree that Pikmin 4 is not that 3DS game, right?
It isn't that 3DS game.
Okay, we're all in agreement.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
it's not. It shouldn't. Well, you say jokingly that it is, because. But anyways, I don't know. Like, I know I can understand some people were worried about it, but the fact that it was so small in scale and so different that I didn't really think it was Pikmin 4 in the slightest. It was just a little spin-off, like an experimental title.
Nintendo knows that they can't mess with their fan base
Metroid.
again after how
After the
badly-
Federation Force stuff.
yes, exactly after how badly
Let-
they
and-
handled Metroid.
And I hope they don't do something that's going to happen during the Video Game Awards. So regarding Metroid,
What do
I'm
you
just saying,
What do you mean?
the Metroid fan project, another Metroid 2, is nominated for Best Fan Game of the Year.
Oh, really?
Well, it deserves it.
Well, it's
And
just kind of weird.
Nintendo is also sponsoring the event, so
I find that weird
Oh,
because
so
the game doesn't even exist anymore because Nintendo forced it to shut down. So it's kind of weird that it would even be allowed to be nominated for anything. It should be like wiped from like
Well,
yeah.
here, I'm sorry to cut you off, but Pokemon Uranium, a game Nintendo publicly shut down as well, is also nominated.
oops.
Okay,
Yes.
whatever.
I am hoping that this is just me, but I am hoping this will be a wake up call to Nintendo. Be like, you know what? We can't do this anymore.
Well,
Maybe we should actually embrace some fan games and take a note for what Sega's doing for Sonic Mania. Yada yada yada. Put Metroid 2 on the eShop. We'll buy in a heartbeat. Yada yada. The end.
Problem
And,
is that the problem is Nintendo can't allow project like games that literally emulate their own work to be freely playable by people. Because what's stopping people from just saying no? I don't feel like buying the Virtual Console version of Metroid 2 when I could play this free, prettier alternative. I mean, it's
Well,
not.
the
It's
whole-
not.
I mean,
Hero-
okay. There's a difference.
Hero,
All right.
guys, I'm gonna settle this now before we get off on a whole different tangent because we're still trying to talk about the Switch. The whole thing with fan games in Nintendo Hero is this: Federation with Pokemon Uranium, there's Pokemon that Nintendo made. So of course that can't legally be sold, and that is technically illegal.
Mhm.
So, but at technicality, it isn't a legal game, so it makes sense that game got shut down. There's a lot of new Pokemon in it for Pokemon Uranium, but we kind of went over this already. It is basically rooted in Pokemon that were already made. Metroid AM2R, there's a lot of new assets, there's a lot of new areas, there's a lot of new gameplay elements, and there's a lot of new things in the game. Yes, the core level design is very heavily inspired and in some cases ripped from Metroid 2. The
Obviously.
music is remixed music from Metroid Prime and other Metroid titles, so while it is original composers making really great remixes, Nintendo owns the original source files. And again, Metroid 2 is a Nintendo game, and AM2R isn't called Metroid 2, but its subname is called Unlimited Metroid 2 Remake. So by all technicalities, it is a illegal game too. But
I
here's
mean, look. If
I'm not done yet. But the whole thing is that in Hero, I think you're gonna probably mention this, but the whole thing with Sonic and the fan game community is that the Taxman himself approached Sega before they went and did anything, and then they was able to make Mania
Right.
and the Sonic remasters. But
But
the whole,
what about
but
like
now- go
Sonic
ahead.
before and after the sequel, or Sonic Utopia and stuff like that?
well, those things are the Sega is very hands off with the fan community. Well, I was talking about
Exactly. That's what that's what I'm talking about. Nintendo should take a note from that.
Well,
Nintendo should take a note. No, Nintendo should take a note from that, and in some cases, like AM2R, talk to the developers and see if they can negotiate something. But it's a very gray area.
it's a gray
lot
area.
of-
It's a gray area. I mean, I would be happy if Nintendo embraced the fan community too. I mean, it's just like, why not foster new creative talent? I mean, there's a lot of creative minds out there. Look at the indie development scene.
Because then they'll be like, nah, that's cool. But we will do it our own way.
Well, I mean, Nintendo does that, but I don't know. Just like maybe Sega is more open to the fan community because they're desperate. You know, considering how
No,
poorly
no,
Sonic's been,
no.
how poorly Sonic's been through the last 5 years. You know, because they didn't
You know
certainly
what,
didn't do this 5 years
guys?
ago.
Guys, you know what? Let's just drop the whole fan game discussion. Let's just say we have different opinions on it, and let's move on and talk about Splatoon.
Okay.
But you brought up a great point there, G, about how Nintendo fan games are nominated for the Game Awards show, and Nintendo sponsored it, like you mentioned here. So we'll see where that leads. I keep saying that. Again, we don't know what's going to happen. So back to Splatoon. I think.
From now to March is going to be very interesting. Like there's just so many things we can speculate, and I don't think we could have done this with the Wii U.
No, we couldn't. I really am glad that Nintendo's ship is very leaky, because that means we have a lot of stuff to talk about.
Well, just depends. I mean, I don't want the biggest surprises being leaked out. So.
Oh yeah. And I don't think, like, the people that have leaked all these rumors, I don't think they're just saying it just for attention. I think, considering, like, these people have a good track record, they're not right 100% of the time, but some of the times they are right. Like, most of the times they are right.
Emily Rogers has been on point many times, and
Yep.
the Pokemon Sun and the
The
Pokemon
Sun and Moon
Stars
leaks have been
validated by
accurate.
Eurogamer. The whole thing with Stars was from Eurogamer.
Yeah,
Eurogamer wouldn't publish a story like that if they didn't have sources backing it claims.
Yeah, and we should also give
I
credit.
just think
We also
that-
should give credit to what's her name, Laura Kate Dale, who does
Yeah.
like Let's Play video games. She's been an amazing source of info on Twitter and such. You know, give her big props for that
Exactly.
as well. Because she also
Yeah.
what were the articles? She was the one who broke the Mario RPG article. And other things in the past, so she's been right on the money.
She was the one that did the Mario RPG?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was thinking about Pokemon Stars. That was your gamer, my bad.
And Liam Robertson, as always, has been like he's more quiet on things, but he does occasionally drop little hints and all that. So, and of course, he always does those great unseen 64 videos. So, you know,
Exactly. So, I mean, there's a lot of people saying a lot of great things about Nintendo through these rumors and speculation. So, I'm looking forward to learning more about them.
Mhm.
So, you want to talk about Splatoon more, guys, or we kind of wrapped up everything?
I guess we can wrap things up. Can we?
I just want to say, it's like, I think people should probably calm down with all these rumors and getting mad, because at the end of the day, it's all video games.
Exactly.
Some rumors because it's just, let's not get hate or anger, because well, if they're right, they're right. If they're wrong, okay, they're wrong. It's not going to be the end of the world or anything like that. Just
Exactly.
people just need to, like, calm down.
Every time I write an article about one of these rumors, I make sure I put in bold and italics, this is a rumor, this could possibly not happen. I even titled the article with rumor in capital letters, because rumors are rumors. You can't really call them as announcements,
Yeah.
but they are interesting to learn about.
Oh yes.
I mean, there are, like, remember, the Mario and Rabbids thing. It's not impossible. I mean, we live in a world where Kingdom Hearts exists, a crossover between Square Enix and Disney, of all things.
Mm-hmm.
We have
Exactly.
Marvel vs. Capcom. Professor Layton. We have the most ridiculous thing: Mario and Sonic competing at the Olympics in a mini game collections instead of being a platform. But
And
whatever.
we have a Sonic in Lego form.
Exactly. Lego Dimensions. It's a multi crossover thing that it's probably the biggest licensing hell ever.
Sonic talking with Doctor Who and Lego Batman.
Exactly. And Bart Simpson.
Yes, and Bart Simpson.
Uh,
I mean,
I'll show you the video in a few after we're done. But
Okay.
there are some rumors that seem too good to be true. Like back in 2012, there was a rumor that Retro was working on a Star Fox Metroid crossover, and like everyone was so excited. It's like, oh, but when it turns out to be just a rumor, we were all annoyed.
Yep. So I agree, Deji. We shouldn't. Everyone, if you're listening to this, don't really take rumors as facts. They're interesting to learn about, but they not might always be true. But the world's nuts, so you never know what's going to happen.
Or, as a famous cartoon character once said, "Don't you believe it?"
All right, so let's kind of close things up. I want to thank you, Hero, for inviting me and letting me and just pitching the idea of this podcast. It was a lot of fun talking about the Nintendo Switch.
Thank you,
And Deji.
Deji.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here again.
And let's all meet up again in the future and see if we can talk about more Nintendo stuff, specifically maybe speculation podcast about what we can expect from Nintendo's event in January in the future.
Well, we technically did that already when the thing was announced, but we can
Yeah.
we can do another one like maybe a couple weeks prior to the presentation or something, like in January or whatever.
Or we can just have our random podcast of us talking about random stuff, because I think that's what we're good at now.
Yes, yes. Maybe we could talk about the Pokemon Sun and Moon anime in the future too.
Oh yeah, sure.
Thank God it's actually good. Oh, thank God.
Yeah, I'm glad about that too, Deji.
I haven't watched it yet. So I'm just gonna wait for the dub. So that's just me.
It's online. You can definitely find it, Hero.
Oh,
Ash is an idiot, just letting you know.
yeah, I heard he's actually he didn't get nerfed again, so that's good.
He's just overly excited.
I like Ash being so optimistic and so full of energy, and him being run over by a bunch of Tauros and just coming up and like, it's fine. That was really nice to see.
Anyway, I'll sign off now. So thank you two for joining me again this time, and we'll be recording again at some point in the future. And also, be on the lookout for possibly later today, me and RK will be part of the new Three Wire podcast. We'll see how that goes. And with that, that's it for me. Thank you very much for joining episode 5 of Hero Legends Nintendo Discussions podcast. Signing off. You want to say your goodbyes?
Bye, everyone.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Alright, everyone, take care. See